President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, appointed the new National Intelligence Director, stressing that the agency will be dedicated to the fight corruption. As Petro announced, Manuel Alberto Casanova will be the new director of the organization. The president has outlined to him the roadmap that the state intelligence will have. He also highlighted the intelligence agency's similarities with the Administrative Department of Security and also committed himself to analyze the conflicts between both agencies. The president ratified that the Intelligence Directorate will have the fundamental task of safeguarding national sovereignty and fighting corruption.
State intelligence is aimed at protecting sovereignty, at protecting rights and freedoms of citizens, and protecting from dangers that may arise, and today its main objective, and I want to say this publicly, its main objective is to pursue corruption all over the country.
On Wednesday night, a new massacre was reported in Colombia. 3 people were killed in the department of Valle del Cauca in the southwest of the country. In the incident, which took place in the Ita neighborhood of the municipality of Buga, 1 person was also injured. Preliminary information indicates that several armed individuals entered the house and shot at the people who were in the main living room. The identities of the victims have not been revealed. It is only known that there are 2 men and a woman. It was also reported that the Republic Prosecutor's Office was starting investigations into the incident.
The Department of Police at Valley reports that in the municipality of Buga, the homicide of 3 people was discovered inside a house. The event was a result of firearms. The National Police appointed a special criminal investigation team that articulated with the General Prosecutor's Office, hoping to capture those responsible for these unfortunate facts.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro announced an extradition agreement proposal with the United States, and he delivered a joint briefing with Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. President Petro said narco-traffickers should abide the negotiations with the Colombian government or otherwise will be extradited to the U.S. Those who had reached a negotiation from better judicial terms in their sentence but relapsed into drug trafficking will be extradited and will not be able to renegotiate their sentence with the U.S. government. The proposed agreement was discussed in a meeting with a top anti-narcotics U.S. delegation aimed at boosting efforts in giving opportunities for farmers and abandoning ground coca leaves.
The first point has to do with extradition. To say briefly, what we proposed to them was that a narco-trafficker who does not accept negotiations with the government will be extradited to the U.S. A narco-trafficker who accepts negotiations with the government and falls into crime again will be extradited without any type of negotiations with the U.S. government. Now, a narco-trafficker who negotiates judicial benefits with the Colombian government and definitely stops being a narco-trafficker will not be extradited.
Social organizations in Puerto Rico mobilized on Thursday to demand a reform of the energy systems as a result of a constant power outages nationwide. The Coalition of Clean Energy for Puerto Rico called for demonstrations in front of the FTS of San Juan to demand an energy system that favors the needs of the citizens. Several artists and organizations joined the demonstrations and urged the people to protest against the inability of the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority and Lumo Energy to provide consistent power. Meanwhile, the National Police, citizens and some merchants installed protection under the facades and placed messages reminding that they are also affected by the constant power outages. Facing a complex power situation, Cuba plans to recover its generation capacity through a major investment and local manufacturing of parts and equipment. Cuban Energy and Mines Minister Livan Arronte said this year the government plans to restore the 489 megawatts currently lacking due to the problems at the thermoelectric power situations along distribution lines. The energy minister said they are implementing new investment projects that will allow for a production of another 531 megawatts by December this year.
When you get financing, the financing we have, the delivery terms of each product, and the raw materials needed to resolve and manufacture in the country, because we have to say that the country is ready for the industry. It is ready to produce and manufacture most of the spare parts and components used in thermoelectric power plants nowadays. However, there are spare parts that we have to purchase because they are produced by the manufacturer of that kind of technology. And these parts have a very long delivery time, as I explained. For example, in Mariel 6, which is a unit that was affected, we purchased all the resources, but we have to wait 6 months to receive them.
We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back from the south. Numerous indigenous farmers and social organizations gathered in the city of La Paz, seat of the plurinational government of Bolivia, to participate in a march in support of the government and democracy. Representative of the Path of Unity and Central Labor Union of Bolivia confirmed the arrival at the city of El Alto of numerous organizations that have traveled from different points of the national geography. This mobilization ratifies a popular reaction to demonstrations encouraged by those who in 2019 carried out a coup d'etat whose consequences is still felt and the country is still recovering from.
A message for all our native indigenous peoples, a message for our youth to always look for unity, to recover our economic stability, to recover the independence and sovereignty of all our peoples and our national state of Bolivia.
This Wednesday night, Alberto Fernandez, president of Argentina, reappeared on television to support the innocence of Cristina Fernandez, accused by the prosecutor's office in the case known as Validar or Roadworks. The head of state, a legal expert, described the process as nonsense marked by even legal weaknesses. The prosecutors in the case, Domingo Luciani, based in his case on the premise that there was no way for her not to know what was going on. The president recalled that the crimes of which Cristina Fernandez is accused required malice. That is, the certainty that accused must have wanted to commit them.
In this case, Cristina is not guilty of anything. I have no doubt. I have commented with her who is going to want to be president of Argentina next, if that person is going to be responsible for everything that happens under that government. At this moment, I have more than 100,000 people depending on me. What I say is that Cristina Kirchner did not commit any of the crimes that are attributed to her.
In Spain, the t-shirts worn by Diego Armando Maradona in the final of Mexico 1986 World Cup will be handed over to Argentina after 36 years and will remain in the Legends Museum to be inaugurated in February 2023. The symbolic handover ceremony will be led by the German former player Lothar Matthäus, one of the stars of the finalist German team that received the piece from Maradona himself. In addition, the ceremony will be attended by Marcelo Ordaz, president of Legends. Matthäus had owned the jersey since June 29, 1986, and will hand it over to the collectors in a ceremony held at the Argentine embassy in Madrid and prizes over by Ambassador Ricardo Alfonsini. Victor Hugo Morales will conduct the event, which will also be attended by the president of the AFA, Claudio Tapia, Oscar Mayo, executive general manager of the league, partner of the Legends project, as well as the specialist press that will cover the event. Mark Walls, U.S. Deputy Assistant from Brazil and Southern Hemisphere arrived in Paraguay this Wednesday and held a meeting with several legislators of the South American nation. Wells met with lawmakers to address the complex situation between Washington and Asunción after the United States sanctioned former President Horacio Cortés and the last Vice President Hugo Velázquez for being significantly corrupt. Drug trafficking, corruption, and potential cooperation projects topped the agenda. The official warned that other measures were on the way. Upon leaving the meeting, Senator Jorge Queray said that they talk about institutional weakness.
We talked about the issue of money laundering. We talked about drug trafficking as well. We talked about the drug routes, the institutional fragility, and also their position with respect to these points, asking them basically about the money circuits, the drug trafficking circuits, and that of contraband.
Peru's justice systems admitted a lawsuit for the $4.5 million from the Peruvian Consumer Protection Agency against the Spanish oil company Repsol and other companies linked to the spill of some 12,000 barrels of crude oil into the city in January. The incident occurred on January 15 while the Italian flag tanker the Mare Doricum was unloading crude oil at the La Pampilla refinery in Ventanilla, 30 kilometers north of Lima and owned by Repsol. The oil company blamed the accident to the wave caused by the volcanic eruption on the island of Toga in the other side of the Pacific Ocean, and the Peruvian government described it as an ecological disaster. The oil spill affected more than 700,000 inhabitants, Muslim fishermen, and forced the closure of more than 20 beaches and dozens of businesses in the tourist area. We have more news coming up after the final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back. In China, Typhoon Maon made landfall on Thursday in the southern province of Guangdong with winds of 118 kilometers per hour. The 19th event of this type so far this year is causing a strong storm, winds and rainfall, as well as flooding of many roads, leaving some 140 people in temporary shelters. A local weather station reported waves of up to 5 meters high, forcing authorities to call some 300 fishing boats to port as a preventive measure. The effect of Maon's path were severe in the Hankan administrative region, where commercial and financial activity was partially suspended. 6 counties in Hainan province are expected to report rainfall of more than 100 millimeters in the next 24 hours. Provincial authorities in China have continued to take effective drought relief measures, including improving irrigation system and conditioning cloud seeding to ensure safe drinking water and irrigation for the autumn grain crops. Since the drought began in July 20, authorities have discharged nearly 280 million cubic meters of water to the country's largest irrigation area in the Sichuan in an effort to ensure the autumn rice production. To alleviate the local drought, the Sichuan Meteorological Administration deployed 2 large unmanned aerial vehicles to conduct cloud sending operation. The country's National Observatory continued to issue an orange alert for the high temperatures and the heat waves affect many regions of the Asian nation. Hundreds of households living on the outskirts of Afghan capital Kabul have been suffering from water shortages for years, with a persistent drought and poverty now making people's lives harder. In the town of Sarda Mijash, about 500 homes near the mountain have to source their water from one well every day. Families have to carry multiple tanks of water from down the mountain to meet their families' water needs. According to local officials, this difficult situation has been going on for at least 3 years. Members of the Afghan Crimson Society said the organization is planning to take measures to provide filtered water to Kabul.
There was water supply to each household until the private company stopped doing business 3 years ago. Now people have to come to this well or other places for water. People complain about droughts and poverty. Some families left because of water and security issues.
Ukrainian armed forces has reportedly shelled the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant at least 17 times. Regional Administration Chief Yevgeny Balistky said Kiev launched 29 shells over the Zaporizhzhia region, with 17 shells reportedly hitting facilities at the nuclear power plant. The officials said that 9 of the missiles started hitting the industrial area of the city of Kametka at near the Dokar. The military civil administration said that the attack caused a huge fail on the bridge fire, which activated a nuclear power plant's safety system. Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a decree on Thursday to increase the number of army troops by 137,000 to a total of 1.15 million in a Moscow special military operation in Ukraine. The decree will take effect as of January 1st, 2023, and the ranks increase will rely heavily on volunteers in terms of draftees. The Kremlin has said that only volunteer contract holders take part in the special military operation in Ukraine, rejecting claims that it was pondering a mobilization. As one Russian military analyst put in it, given the complexity of the military equipment requiring at least 3 years of training, a draft will not help. teleSUR English continues to grow. It is seen and reaches Europe, and you can order it from your cable dealer or tune it yourself. These parameters that you see on the screen are in place since July 1st, and quite soon, the changes will be implemented for the signal in the Middle East and Africa. Now more than ever, the world connects to us, and our stories are being heard all around the globe. This multi-platform will continue providing trustful content to oppose the Yamani's media's narrative on our faithfulness to our audience. However, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. And now you can also follow us on our TikTok account at teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, and news updates and more. For teleSUR English, I'm from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.